They said I didn't deserve a future, so I built one. The night they kicked me out, the sky looked like it was bleeding ink. My old man didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. My daughter gets the future, he said flat as gravel. Not you. No whisper, no hesitation, just judgment. Mom handed me a wrinkled 20 like she was tipping a stranger, her fingers shaking but her face calm. Then the door clicked shut. That sound still rings in my chest like a gunshot that never stopped echoing. I stood there in the rain, suitcase half zipped, hair plastered to my face, the porch light sputtering like it was dying with me. 5 years later, that same light flickered again. Only this time, I was the one sitting behind the desk, and my sister was the one asking for a job. But let's rewind so you understand why that moment meant everything. We lived in a place called Maple Creek, population small enough to keep secrets, but big enough to hide pain. Our house smelled like lemon polish and motor oil. Mom's obsession with clean lines, Dad's with broken engines. From the outside, we looked like your typical, all-American family. Inside, it was a quiet monarchy. My sister Kara wore the crown. I was the ghost. Dad used to be a shop teacher before he quit to run a garage. Said real work means grease under your nails. Mom handled the bills like a military operation. No mistakes, no emotions. And Kara? She was their golden ticket. Blonde, sharp, honor roll smile that made adults melt. When she turned 16, she got a used Jeep wrapped with a red bow. I got a gift card to a bookstore. You love reading, Mom said. This fits you. I smiled, pretended it didn't sting. But the day that envelope arrived, blue seal, thick paper, my name printed on it, I thought maybe, just maybe, they'd finally see me. Congratulations, Guillemette said. Accepted. Partial scholarship. I held it up in the kitchen like it was a torch. I got in. Redwood University. Dad didn't even look up from the paper. We can't pay for 2 tuitions, he muttered. Mom sighed, sorting bills like they were sacred scripture. Kara's pre-law isn't cheap, Zoe. Be realistic. I'll work. I'll cover the rest, I said. Dad looked at me then, eyes sharp, tired, final. Then cover all of it. You're 18. Be independent. Mom reached into her purse, slid out a 20, and pressed it into my palm. Start there, she said softly. That was it. My entire childhood folded into one damp bill. I packed what I could, some notebooks, a few shirts, and walked out into the storm. Kara stood by the window, watching, not waving. The thunder swallowed my name. The first night alone hit like a brick. I slept on a bus stop bench slick with rain. Every car that passed sprayed me smaller. I kept rereading my acceptance letter, the ink blurring, the words melting away. On the third night, fever set in. My breath burned. Then I heard a voice. A trucker named Sam Dorsey, mid-50s. Kind eyes. He called an ambulance, gave me his jacket, and before he left, tucked a 20 under my orange juice. You'll need it more than me, he said. At the hospital, my wristband read, address unknown. That word broke me. They sent me to Haven Street Shelter when I got out. The woman who ran it, Marla Quinn, didn't ask what I'd done wrong. She just said, you get 1 bed, 1 lock, and 1 shot to start over. So I scrubbed floors, folded sheets, worked any shift offered. My hands cracked from bleach, but every blister was proof I was still here. One day, Marla posted a flyer. Help wanted. Hang Benny's Diner, 4th and Maple. Next morning, I showed up in borrowed sneakers. The diner smelled like burnt toast and old coffee. The owner, Elena Benny, looked me over and said, You ever wait tables? No, I said, but I learned fast. She tossed me an apron. Good. Grab the syrup bottles. That was how it began. I learned fast. Which customers left big tips, which ones snapped fingers, which corners needed wiping twice. I stayed late, fixed the inventory system, started tracking supplies in a beat-up notebook. One day, the delivery guy, Ray Lopez, watched me organize crates. You ever think about logistics? He asked. Logi what? He laughed. You got the brain for systems. That's rare. He was right. I applied for a job at Crestline Freight, nervous as hell, no degree, no fancy resume. Just grit and spreadsheets that smelled like coffee stains. The manager, Tom Walker, looked me dead in the eye and said, You're raw, but sharp. Let's see what you can do. That was the moment everything shifted. Within a year, I wasn't just following systems, I was fixing them. And by 23, I'd built Nova Core Operations, a consulting company that turned chaos into order. Then one rainy Tuesday, my HR manager said, "We've got a new applicant for operations coordinator. Strong background, 3 years in PR." She paused. "Name's Kara Mills." My pulse didn't even spike. I just said, "Book her for Tuesday at 9. When Kara walked in, she looked like success had an aftertaste. Hair pinned neat, confidence rehearsed. She didn't recognize me until Maya said my full name, Zoe Mills. Her face froze. She started. "Let's talk about your qualifications," I said, voice steady. She spoke about fairness, leadership, teamwork, words that used to belong to people like her. Then her eyes found the framed $20 bill on my wall. The recognition hit her like a slap. "You kept it," she whispered. "I keep reminders," I said. She swallowed hard. "Are you going to hire me?" "That depends," I replied. "Can you work under someone who believes in fairness, not favorites?" She nodded, tears clinging to her lashes. "I can try." "Then try," I said. That night, I stood by my office window, watching rain trace silver lines down the glass Mom called. I let it ring. Some debts aren't repaid with apologies, they're repaid with peace. The next weekend, I drove back to Maple Creek, same bench, same flickering streetlight. I set a framed 20 on the seat and whispered, "This is where they ended me, and where I began." The rain didn't sound cruel anymore. It sounded like applause.